Apple does not want you to buy an Android phone. I'll give you a moment to gather yourself after this stunning revelation that I've brought to you. Apple wants you to buy an iPhone. And historically, they will and have done whatever they can to prevent you from buying anything but an iPhone. And some of this is by creating a very good product like the iPhone. The iPhone is a very good phone. It's a great camera. It's a great phone. There's a reason so many people own the iPhone. So I have no issue with Apple in that regard. However, we have just learned from the lawsuit between Epic Games and Apple something that, while I don't think is altogether surprising, I do think it is illuminating, and it paints a picture of Apple and their general practices, because it is exactly what you would expect as a tactic from Apple to prevent you from leaving the Apple ecosystem. So what you have to do if you're Apple is you have to make getting into the Apple ecosystem look really appealing. Lure people in, right? Ooh, look at the new iPhone. It's so pretty, and look how cool it is. Now, once you're in, what Apple then begins to do, you could argue, are some tactics that might be wrong or things you would hope that they wouldn't do to get their hooks in you so that you cannot leave. This leak revolves around iMessage. So let's jump over here to where I saw it first, which is actually on Reddit. Reddit user Asian Mac pulled from courtlistener.com. Here's what we have. As early as 2013, Apple decided and made an internal decision not to develop a version of iMessage for Android OS, which indicates that they were considering doing this, and then they decided not to. Mr. Q testifies that Apple could have made a version on Android that worked with iOS such that there would have been cross-compatibility with the iOS platform, so the users of both platforms would have been able to exchange messages with one another seamlessly. However, Craig Federighi, Apple's Senior Vice President of Software Engineering and the executive in charge of iOS, feared that, quote, iMessage on Android would simply serve to remove an obstacle to iPhone families giving their kids Android phones. As we all know, there are some very cheap Android phones. Phil Schiller, an Apple executive in charge of the App Store, agreed Apple should not offer iMessage on Android devices. And in 2016, a former employee commented that the number one most difficult reason to leave the Apple universe is iMessage. iMessage amounts to serious lock-in to the Apple ecosystem. Schiller commented that moving iMessage to Android will hurt us more than help us. This email illustrates why. And they are 100% right. For all the things that we don't like about Google, and a lot of this is going to be because they're an entirely different company. They're much more focused on software than hardware. But for all the things we don't like about Google, all their stuff, virtually all their stuff, is available on other platforms. You can have Gmail on your iPhone, right? You can download Duo, Google Duo, on your iPhone. If they make an app, you can probably download it on your iPhone. Will it be as good as the Android version? Maybe not. Usually it's close though, but it's there. And when Google starts creating a messaging client, now they've created a lot of messaging clients. Hello, Google Allo, Hangouts. There are more. Say them in the comments that they were. How about this? And then it wasn't very good, or it didn't get adopted, and they threw it away. Now they're doing this RCS thing, right? Rich Chat Services, which replicates most of the iMessage things. And they're trying to roll this thing out broad, right? The idea is that it's a service that anybody can hook into, and that, they're not trying to tie you into an ecosystem necessarily. If everyone just supports RCS, everybody will be happy. You can use your messaging app of choice. I'll use my messaging app of choice, and we'll all get those features. They're not trying to lock anybody into anything necessarily. And this reminds me of Microsoft in a way too, where they're kind of platform agnostic. They just want you to have Game Pass to use their services wherever you want to use them. Apple wants you on their hardware, on their phone, on their tablet, on their computer. Period. End of story. That's what they're going to do. Anything they can to make happen. And I promise you that last bit there, that the number one most difficult reason to leave the Apple universe is iMessage is 100% correct, in particular in America where iMessage is very popular. I have friends and family members that have tried to leave the Apple ecosystem only to find that days have gone by and they've not been able to get a single text message from anyone they know that has an iPhone. Because those messages are still being sent to their iMessage account. They're on with Apple support trying to get these things fixed. They can't fix it, and they wound up, I kid you not, going back and buying another iPhone because they just couldn't get their messages and no one could help them fix it. This is intentional. This is 100% the design. Once you sign in with iMessage, I know some of you are going to say, I had iMessage and I switched phones and it worked fine. I'm happy for you. I have watched people that I know, and I've tried to help them even, and it wouldn't work. If I send them a text from my Android device, they'd get it. If they got a text from an iMessage thing, they weren't going to get it. Something about their phone number and the carrier and iMessage, it wasn't going to work. And again, this is the design. If iMessage was on Android, they could have just signed in and rolled on. Nothing would have happened, and they wouldn't have gone back and bought an iPhone begrudgingly. And best case scenario, you switch to an Android device, your text messages start flowing in correctly, but now there's this stigma from Apple consumers of, I don't know what it is, blue dot, green dot. I think if you're a green dot, you're Android. If you're a blue dot, it's going to an iMessage account. And people just don't want to do that. They don't want to be a green dot if that's what it is. They want to be the blue dot. There's a weird stigma there around being a green dot. And look, iMessage works really, really well. You have a lot of additional features that you don't have on standard SMS, and Google's RCS client stuff isn't spread wide enough. So this idea of, I'm going to go from iMessage that works really well over to standard text message again. I'm going to be a green dot to all my friends. You know what? I'm just going to stay on iPhone. And look, Apple's right about this. It will cost them sales. People will leave if they can get iMessage elsewhere. But is this the right way to keep customers? This is not about providing a service that can't be beaten. This is about providing a service that traps you in their ecosystem that you can't get out of. If I went to go buy an iPhone, nothing's going to keep me from doing that. All my services will transfer over. Nothing's really going to hurt me. I'll just have to get used to a new operating system, but I'd roll right on, and that's fine. That's great. I have an Android because I like what it can do for me. I like the form factors I can buy. I like the diversity of experience, apps, and hardware. Is it right to say that, I can't leave my iPhone because iMessage won't let me? And I think that this is exactly what Epic is trying to point out here in this line of questioning. They're trying to say that Apple is not creating a truly competition-based market. They're giving themselves massive advantages on their hardware. Apps like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and things like that, I guarantee are more popular on Android than they are on the iPhone. And that is by design. When you're trying to just compete honestly, you make the better product and the customers decide. And Epic's argument here is that that's not what Apple does. Apple tries to rig the game so that their software is what people have, and they have little choice to get out of it once they've done it. We've had these conversations in the past with Microsoft, bundling in Internet Explorer and kind of setting it as the default out of the box. Well, does that give them an unfair advantage when we're talking about people wanting to download Chrome or what have you? Well, these things have gone to court already in the past. Again, this isn't shocking. I think we all knew this already. But the fact that Apple has essentially now admitted this on the record in a court case is telling about what their strategy is. Is Apple interested in creating the best software experiences, or are they interested in keeping you on their platform at all costs? Are they more interested in preventing good experiences elsewhere to try and keep you on board? There's a fine line here. Is what Apple is doing wrong? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you hear it and you think, I would do the same thing. This is my software. I'm going to keep it on my hardware. There's an argument to be made there. At any rate, I find it very interesting and very telling. I would love to know what you guys think in the comments down below. And I would also like to know what you use as your messaging app, because I just use text messaging. I don't use Facebook Messenger or anything else, WhatsApp, Signal, any of that stuff. I just use Google Messages with RCS enabled. And, you know, like Jessie has that. She's like one of the only people that I know that has an Android phone, strangely enough. Like my mom, my friends, like most all of them use iPhone. Like, so it doesn't work with many people but her. But yeah, that's all I use. Phone numbers are still fine. Let me know in the comments down below. Stay tuned for more coverage just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.